Hey, Shaman, how are you doing? Hey, man, how's it going? Yeah, I mean, I heard that they were talking about your medical treatment and that after you got some medical treatment, psychological evaluation, you were hoping that they would kind of give you some leniency or maybe they would reconsider your sentence. And, as a strategy goes, let me say that that's pretty much par for the course these days. They've been working with that one for a couple of years. I'm on the record as saying that I was concerned that they were trying to come up with some sort of not guilty by reason of mental defect as a way to try to cover up for a premeditated conspiracy to undermine the government, especially involving acts of trafficking and smuggling through the alleged Health and Human Services, while they were actually recruiting people for a variety of illegal activities, up to and including participation in a criminal drug conspiracy, and thinking that because they were under some secret order by the President of the United States, or at least the alleged President of the United States, that if they, bit the bullet, said they had a mental illness that would exonerate them from any crime, and then they could just milk it off of Social Security for as long as they needed to, with the understanding that at some point in time later down the pipeline, they'd be able to blame somebody else, or the government would be so destabilized that they'd be able to get their little muni racket to come in and claim chunks, and somehow they've already hooked up special treatment for themselves, right? I don't know if that's what you're doing. I'd like to think that by now you've gotten some counsel, or if you've gotten some sort of peer support that surprised you that this bond flip racket has a very special place for you in their heart. But I'm looking at somebody that looks kind of like you. Did you see this picture? What's this say? Finding a low-win bra is what makes pillaging and plundering worthwhile. I didn't think you were out there to pillage and plunder, by the way. I thought you were doing something else. I thought you were asserting command, kind of like when the president of the Senate steps down and says he doesn't have authority, when actually the only person that has authority to authorize the electoral college at that moment in that context is the president of the Senate, and he says he doesn't have the authority. And then you guys are like, yeah, that's right, it's because it's ours, right? But that would then depend upon who it is that is the primary bondholder on this bond. Chase Manhattan finances new scholarships. Did you know about this? Did you know apparently Chase Manhattan had a 100,000 fund to aid students seeking a career in the petroleum industries as of December of 1986 at the University of Chicago? Hey, you know anybody from the U of C? The ironic thing about the U of C, they don't have any engineering department at the U of C. They have a school of economics, right? I'm sure you might have heard of that. They didn't have any engineering department. Within the last 3 years, though, there was a deal that was hooked up between the University of Chicago and the Army. Did you hear about that? Yeah, I don't know all of the details. I just know the timelines. All right? But I'm concerned because this is dated for December 5th in 1986. Did you hear about that deal that they were trying to work on December 4th of 2017? That would be 96, 2006, 2016, right? 31 years, right? Hey, am I correct? Were you among some of the first people that were arrested? Because they said at the time that the first tranche of people that got arrested, what was the metric on that? You remember? 13. Yeah, right? Well, I'm just saying, I'm looking at this right here, December 5th, 1986. Chase Manhattan finances new scholarships, 100,000 funds. See, the problem is, around 10 years later, actually exactly 10 years later, I was being told that I did not have the financial capability anymore to be able to continue in school. Did they send me that letter? No. But they put that letter in some portfolio that had a bunch of rationales set up using my identity, including the fact that I got into college at the University of Chicago. See, originally I wanted to study physics, right? But then I decided I wanted to study history, specifically Russian history. Why? I had this thing about the Cold War, growing up in the military and all. But if somebody had told me at the time that rather than intentionally try to contrive to set me up for a credit card, that they already had the intention of trying to compel into default so that then they could justify selling that debt off to somebody else after the laws of the state had changed to dispossess me of my rights to due process because they were more interested in real property leases on mineral interests associated with me and my people, well, then I might have made a different decision. I mean, if you had told me in 1995 that there were outstanding investments in the university related to, I don't know, considerations of the petroleum industry, including policy including international policy, including economic development paradigms, including considerations of production and its intersection with technology, including automation, including the fact that it might be interfacing with or in partnership with national paradigms that may have had different concepts of organization, including of data. Data that's going into the production process, data that's going through the production process, concepts of what's an appropriate kind of refinement versus what is acceptable as some sort of byproduct that may or may not be able to be created as a new product line. And then, concepts of, well, what's an appropriate disposal, right? And then what do you do in the event that there's an accident? Hopefully you've prevented the accident, but if it happens, what are the standards for how to address that? And then at some point, somebody would be talking about something more than errors and admissions insurance as some sort of offset, because 1986 was also the year that the Department of Justice released a manual specifically about wiretapping and about laws related to wiretapping and how to use wiretapping in surveillance, including surveillance of suspected criminal organizations. But begs the question of, well, what about wiretapping or surveillance on mass demonstrations? See, last year, when they were doing all of those drone flyovers of those big protests, and people were talking about it, not a lot of people were talking about their whole digital duplicates process that was going on with all these people alleging they were working with energy, right? All these people alleging that they were working with some sort of energy transition. And they were talking about it like we didn't understand. And especially like none of us had ever read that Transition Act for the, space, NASA. That NASA Transition Act from 2017, which would have been it would have been before December 4th of 2017, by the way. And it would have been before you got arrested. So I have absolutely every faith and confidence that you were the kind of person who had the capability to actually be apprised of information at that level. But if nobody is acknowledging that that's what's happening, and if nobody acknowledges when you come in, for instance, 10 years down the road after they've hooked the deal up, they might have a place for you, but they don't want to tell you who's funding it, right? Hey, do you have a missing credit card somewhere? Or you just got a credit card and it just went missing? There's no credit record. Nobody has any information about what happened to it. You don't think it's going to turn up that somehow somebody else took out a credit card on you 10 years before you even tried to go to college. I don't know. I'm just seeing this guy. He looks a lot like you did in that picture. He's wearing a shirt, right? I mean, some might say it's kind of tacky, but at the same time, if that's your spirit, right? I wouldn't call you mentally ill. I wouldn't. I would ask you how much information you guys had at the time specific to an understanding of the particular role that the vice president had in regards to establishing helmsmanship at that moment. That's all that would be the first question. Hey, anyway, I hope you have a good night, and I hope that you get this taken care of, and your medical information is private patient information, but if you're concerned that somebody might be trying to hook up some transactions on it, and maybe using it as part of their kickback pipeline, you might want to check in with December 5th, 1986 on, your calendar and see what you had going on that time, huh? And if you have any accounts with Chase, or if you've ever had any accounts with Chase, you might want to look into them.